good day so far. I know it's a little bit cooler than what we saw yesterday, but still a lot of sunshine. Hopefully those participating in the Little Rock Marathon and half marathon have been having a pretty nice forecast for that running, but we're still continuing to monitor the situation for Tuesday with that concern for severe weather across portions of central and southern Arkansas. And a little bit has changed since we last talked yesterday. So here's kind of that update ahead of our evening newscast. So we do still have the weather impact alert in effect for Tuesday. That's going to be all day Tuesday, March 4th. For again, the threat of severe weather. All modes of severe weather will be possible, and we'll look at who has the better opportunity or stuff in place to see that severe weather on Tuesday. We'll talk more about that in a second, but you know, this is also just making sure you're getting ready to have a plan for Tuesday, because some of the timing of this could, you know, catch a little bit of people off guard that might be headed to work or school. So the SPC risk map has changed just a little bit from yesterday. If you were watching last night when Brooke Buckner and I were here talking, Perry, if you don't mind bringing me up at the Weather Center. Yesterday when we were talking, the orange or enhanced risk came up to portions of western Tennessee into northern Mississippi, and that also included some of east central Arkansas. So they have backed off on that a little bit, kind of zooming in more to Arkansas specifically. The highest concern for that level 3 out of 5 or enhanced risk is going to be over the southwest, maybe quarter of the state. Now it does still include portions of Pulaski County and the Little Rock Metro. I think kind of sitting right on top of where we have that I-30, I-40 axis, and areas primarily along that axis and south and east of that are going to be under this enhanced or level 3 out of 5 risk. That does include Clark County and Arkadelphia, Jefferson County and Pine Bluff, Ouachita County down there towards Camden, Union County with El Dorado further south. I do think we'll talk more about in a second about that instability, because we've been talking about how that's a limiting factor. Still likely going to be most present or most prominent just to our south in Louisiana and Mississippi, but there is still a little bit of that energy there for south central and southeastern Arkansas. Now the rest of the state under that level 2 out of 5 or slight risk. So that does include those areas that were previously under that enhanced risk. Just still a little bit of the those ingredients there to see that slight risk. We still have the wind energy. We'll still have at least enough moisture to help produce some of this rain. It's just going to be that cape and then the cloud cover, which is going to kind of help be some limiting factors, but we still might be able to see enough of that over southern Arkansas. There is still the concern for excessive rainfall leading to flash flooding. Today compared to yesterday, more of the state shaded in yellow. So if you were following along with us yesterday, about the western third of the state was under more of this gray shaded or marginal risk. So pretty much at this point, most of the state, with the exception of a few counties off to the northwest and southwest, pretty much most of the state shaded in that yellow, seeing that slight risk for flooding. That means that heavy rainfall leading to flooding. But we'll show what radar is looking like here in a second, because now that we're a little bit closer, we at least have the graph model, which is one of those high resolution models that goes out 72 hours to give us a little bit more detail of what we're tracking. Perry, if you don't mind pulling up Max 1 Full so they can look at the CAPE or the storm field forecast. So compared to yesterday, this has changed a bit. We're starting this at 6 o'clock Tuesday morning. So as people are getting ready for the morning rush hour. Now yesterday, a good chunk of that creamy tan color kind of encompassed more of central Arkansas and areas east. Today, it's really only encompassing those western 2 to 3, maybe even 4 rows of counties. I think just getting shy of portions of Saline County into Conway and Faulkner counties in central Arkansas, but we do still kind of have some of that instability over Garland County or Montgomery County farther west, some of Yale County included in that. But as we bring this forward a little bit into the morning, we do see a little bit more of that instability or storm field moving into central Arkansas. Now at this point, middle day, noon, that's kind of when we're starting to expect those storms to get a little bit spicier. But the storm field right now looking to be primarily east, the eastern half of the state, where it gets a little bit darker, closer to more of that tan color once you get into counties like White County, Prairie County, further south into Arkansas Wichita County and Jefferson County into southeastern Arkansas, locations that are still under that level 3 out of 5 or enhanced risk. Now, we take this forward a few more hours to 3 o'clock. That area storm field we saw over southeastern Arkansas starting to move out of the state over into Mississippi. A little bit of storm field still in the River Valley, closing in on Pope and Conway counties and over into the Ozarks, but specifically in central Arkansas, Pulaski County, the Little Rock Metro at 3 o'clock. Not a lot of storm field there. And I want to draw attention to this time frame because 3 o'clock is when a lot of the kids are getting out of school. You're maybe sitting in the school pickup line to get the kids, or the buses are rolling to take the kids home. So that, although there will be some rain at this time frame, the fact that there's not a lot of storm field there is good when you kind of look at that standpoint of that's when people are going to be on the roads. Let's take this forward a few more hours, 6 o'clock. Not a lot of storm fuel in southern Arkansas, which is where we have the higher concern for severe weather, which is good news. But there is a little bit of storm fuel to our north and north central Arkansas, kind of just shy of Pulaski County, maybe northern portions of Lonoke into White and Cleburne County, seeing some of that storm fuel. But by this point, you'll see in a second, by 6 o'clock, really the main line of storms is starting to exit the state. So once that sun sets, there's really not going to be much room for a concern of severe weather. Could still maybe see a few showers overnight into Wednesday, but I think primarily between, I would say, as early as 10 a.m. to about 4 o'clock is when, you know, areas west and around central Arkansas need to be on their highest alert, and then just east of the Little Rock Metro in central Arkansas, I would say up until sunset, kind of making sure you're on guard. Even through the rest of the evening, that storm fuel kind of moving out of the state. So I want to put this into motion now with actual radar. Again, this is one specific model's output. This is not exactly how radar will look on Tuesday, but this is one of those high resolution model options that kind of gives us a little bit more detail. So as we mentioned just a second ago with that storm fuel forecast, at this point, 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, the storm fuel is really off to the west of central Arkansas and the Little Rock Metro. But across central Arkansas and the Little Rock Metro, we are seeing some rain showers at this time, and across the state as a whole, we're seeing a cloud cover, which right now is going to kind of work in our favor to help the atmosphere not get terribly unstable, because that instability is what's going to drive the storm fuel. So play this forward a couple of hours. By 9 a.m. you see we're starting to see some of those maybe clusters of storms developing across southern and southwestern Arkansas, you know, across Garland County into Hot Spring County, along maybe that I-30 axis, and then into south central Arkansas from Grant County down to portions of Cleveland and Bradley counties further south. Could be some of those thunderstorms, but that main line of storms is off just to our west at that Oklahoma-Arkansas border. So locations like Fayetteville, Mena down to Texarkana likely starting to feel some of the impacts of some maybe stronger storms closing in on the 9 o'clock hour. But noon, when we're really starting to see the concern for severe weather picking up, that kind of main line of storms starting to move into central Arkansas. If you can kind of see in more of this detail around where we have Ouachita County, Calhoun, and Bradley, like closing in on that Camden, maybe El Dorado sector, those colors are getting very dark. We've got almost like this maroon kind of burgundy type of red. That would likely indicate a strong, if not severe, thunderstorm around that time, kind of closing in on central Arkansas, where you see more of those oranges and yellows. These would kind of be some of those stronger storms that will be extending into northeast and east central Arkansas at this time as well. We'll play this forward a couple more hours. 3 o'clock, again, as we were mentioning earlier, that's that time frame when the kids are getting out of school. You're maybe sitting in the pickup line, or the kids are waiting at the bus stop to head home from school. We're starting to see, you know, that main line of storms closing in on the Mississippi River. Still a few storms impacting some of east central and north central Arkansas, but I think by this point, Pulaski County and the Little Rock Metro starting to see improving conditions. Same story for Garland County in the Hot Springs area down into Dallas County and the Camden area. If you're west of the Little Rock Metro, you're likely going to be seeing improving conditions. Areas east of that continue to be on alert through about sunset, because as you see by sunset at 6 o'clock, that's starting to move east of the Mississippi River. We could even possibly see some clear skies right around that sunset here in central Arkansas, but there will still be the opportunity for a few showers as we continue overnight until Wednesday morning. But that kind of puts into perspective more of a detailed look at what times you need to be on alert. So if you're just now joining us, I am going to take this back from the beginning just so you can see, because there have been a few changes to what we've been tracking. So we do have the weather impact alert in effect for all day Tuesday, but what times do you need to be on alert for severe weather? Well, starting out Tuesday morning when you're headed to work, you probably will need the rain gear, but at this point, likely just rain showers. Take your time on the roadways, especially during the commute when more people are on the roads. But I think once we get to that 9 o'clock hour, if you live south and west of the Little Rock Metro, you'll likely start to see some of that first round of thunder moving in, but it won't be until middle day that we really start to see those stronger storms developing along that line, and that line kind of moving through the central third of the state. The concern, of course, going to be highest if you're south of the metro. So cities like Camden into Monticello, El Dorado, or even Pine Bluff likely kind of feeling some of those stronger storms at this point. But by the time we get to school pickup, a lot of that moving east of central Arkansas, some of east central and southeastern Arkansas still likely going to be dealing with some heavier storms. So Drew, Deshay, Ashley, Chico counties kind of southeast closing in on the Mississippi River, likely still seeing some of those stronger storms around that school pickup time. But once we get to sunset, looking to see improving conditions across pretty much the whole state. Now, outside of the severe thunderstorms, we know that one of those factors or one of those hazards with a severe thunderstorm are going to be those damaging wind gusts. Well, even outside of the severe weather, there's going to be gusty winds throughout the day on Tuesday, just kind of dealing with the pressure gradient as the system is moving through. So I want to kind of show you a forecast of where we're going to see those gusty winds. So even, once the rain starts to move out of your area, it could still be seeing some gusty winds through the day. So this is again around that 6 o'clock time frame, which is likely when we'll mainly just be seeing rain showers. But in the Little Rock Metro, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour expected. Same story in Pine Bluff and Arkadelphia, 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts when you're headed to work Tuesday morning. Hot Springs could be seeing 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts when you're headed to work in the morning. Neenah, even higher, 46-mile-an-hour, 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts are possible. Play this forward a couple hours to middle day. This is when we're really trying to see or looking to see the strongest storms centered over that central third of the state. Obviously, because we're seeing storms, these are going to be, this forecast gust is going to be a little bit higher, but winds gusting between 35 up to 50 miles an hour could be possible across central Arkansas by 6 o'clock when a lot of the storms are east of the state. Still looking to see gusty winds across the state, wind gusts up to 30 miles or 35 miles an hour between Hot Springs, Little Rock, and Arkadelphia. Pine Bluff could still be seeing around 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Camden also looking to see around 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Off to our west, Mena, DeQueen, Texarkana could still be seeing 35 to 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And again, at this time, the rain has already moved out of the state, so we'll continue to see those gusty winds through the evening, even with those skies clearing. By midnight Wednesday, which at this point, not a whole lot of rain expected across the state, still looking to see those winds gusting between 25 to maybe 35 miles an hour. Up in northwest Arkansas, could see wind gusts as high as around 45 miles an hour. And through Wednesday morning, we'll continue to see some gusty winds. So when you're getting ready to head out the door Wednesday morning across central Arkansas, could still see winds gusting between 25 and 35 miles an hour. So even outside of the severe weather, gusty winds will continue to be a concern on Tuesday and into Wednesday. So make sure you're taking that into consideration as well with your goings and comings from work and school over the next couple of days. But again, we emphasize days in advance. We're not necessarily hyping this up, but making sure you're ready days in advance, because we want you to have a plan, especially in the middle of the work week when people are headed to school. So make sure you know where your tornado safe space is if God forbid you are under a tornado warning. A storm shelter or a basement. A lot of people don't have a storm shelter. Some people might not have a basement. So the next best thing would be that lowest level interior room or closet that doesn't share any exterior walls or windows with the outside world. Obviously, if you're at work or school, that location might be a bit different. I know these days a lot of schools have their own storm shelters, or they have their own protocols of where to send the students to go, or at your office you might have been, doing those tornado drills to know where to go. But just make sure ahead of Tuesday, depending on where you're going to be between that 12 to 3 o'clock time frame, you know where your tornado safe space is. Be prepared. If you can make sure you have these things with you, have your phones and devices charged. Make sure if you're at home, you got flashlights, helmets, medication. Pillows are a good alternative to keep your head safe if you don't have a helmet. Blankets and closed-toe shoes. So I talked about this yesterday with Brooke, that if you do unfortunately end up impacted by a tornado, those closed-toe shoes are going to be safer to have in the aftermath of that. Also, make sure you're following us on all of our social platforms, THV11. If you're watching this stream, that means you have THV11 Plus, which is great. Make sure you have the THV11 mobile app, because as watches and warnings come down on Tuesday, you'll get those alerts straight to your phone, and you'll also be able to watch whatever stream, if we have to break into stream, either from your phone or from THV11 Plus. Make sure you know the difference between a watch and a warning as well. Of course, watches cover numerous counties for numerous hours. That's just kind of the ingredients are there for those strong to severe storms. This is a heads up. And then if the warning comes, that means you need to take action right now. So again, if you have the THV11 mobile app, regardless of a watch or a warning, that is going to come straight to your cell phone. So again, we do have the THV11 weather impact alert in effect for Tuesday. Right now, though, the highest concern for severe weather is going to be Tuesday afternoon, like right around noon, till about sunset. The impact, of course, all modes of severe weather are possible. I'll bring back in one second where that risk outline is, or outlook is again. But again, what you need to do right now while we're still 2 days out, make sure you're staying informed, you got your plan ready, and you have multiple ways to receive warnings. I cannot emphasize that enough, especially if you do happen to be out and about on the roadways commuting. But as for Tuesday, this has changed from yesterday, the biggest change being that they pulled back on where the enhanced risk is as far as how northward it is. Yesterday, it did include some of southwest Tennessee and some of east central Arkansas. Right now, that enhanced risk primarily covers the southeastern quarter of the state. So locations mainly along and south of that I-30, I-40 axis as it runs into central Arkansas. That does, though, include Pulaski County, like the southern half of Pulaski County, maybe the Little Rock Metro, especially if you live further south, but more cities that need to make sure they're weather aware: Pine Bluff, Stuttgart, Camden, El Dorado, Monticello, especially if you're in that southern 2, maybe even 3 rows of counties, especially late morning into early afternoon. Make sure you have those multiple ways to receive warnings. I think we're coming up now on the 90-second mark of this stream. So I want to thank y'all again for tuning in. If you have, I hope you've been enjoying your weekend so far. We will have our next newscast at 5:30 on air on THV11, as well as right here streaming on this app, THV11 Plus. If you can't make 5:30, we also have 10 o'clock tonight. That'll be our next newscast. And we also have that special forecast for the THV11 Plus app that'll be recorded shortly after this, so that'll get updated too if you weren't able to watch this whole stream. A lot of that same information will be on that forecast, but tomorrow, I know that Tom Brannon, Chief Meteorologist Tom Brannon, and Meteorologist Nathan Scott are doing another stream at 2:30. So as we get 24 hours out from this, they'll have more updates with more of the high resolution model data and the information coming out from the Storm Prediction Center. And then I think on Tuesday morning after Wake Up Central, Meteorologist Tracy Bean will give another update as well. And obviously, if we do get any watches or warnings on Tuesday, our team will be, cutting into that regular programming and to give you those updates when needed. So in the meantime, thank y'all again for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend. Make sure you join us back this evening and later on tonight for more updates. Make sure you're following our team on social media as well. We've been posting frequent updates ahead of this, and we will continue to, over the next couple of days. Tuesday is going to be a little bit of a ride, but beyond Tuesday, the rest of the week is fairly nice. More details on the week ahead are coming up at 5:30, so make sure you join us.